Hello, welcome to White Davy Gardening and Worm Farm. This is my sweet potato bed, whether it is the purple Japanese yam or the Jamaican sweet potato. And it is the first time, well, apart from when I just transplanted the plants in here, it's the first time I'm actually going to be giving it some worm castings. The good thing about worm casting is that you don't really need to use a lot. And while I am adding the castings, I'm also going to be removing whatever weed there might be. Look at this amaranth plant. It is so small, and yet still it is starting to seed already, so I'm going to take the seed out. I haven't had a chance to make worm tea, but I will for my other raised beds. Worm casting is so good for the plants. It's even good for plants that are struggling. So I'm adding some casting because it helps to repel pests, some pests, but more so when it is used as a worm tea as opposed to the granules. But I must say, my sweet potatoes are not doing too badly at all. They're looking healthy now. They're just not as big as I would expect them to be. But I am grateful that they are looking healthy. It will be interesting to see how much potato I'm going to be harvesting from these, if any. I do expect an harvest though, because we have at least 2 more months of growing season. And I planted these, I started these indoors. Some of them were started in November, some of them were started even up until, what month was that? I think that was April, March, April. Yeah, so I do expect, oh, I didn't plant any in April, so I do expect to have an harvest. So I got more of the Japanese yam, and put them in water so they started root, and I now have some slips on them that's at least 4 inches or taller. So I broke them off and put them in water, because those I'm gonna put growing container, because there isn't enough growing time left in this season for them to produce anything outdoors. So I'm gonna put them in containers and then allow it to grow outdoors, and as soon as it gets too cold, I will put them indoors. I'm gonna try to save some slips from my Jamaican sweet potatoes to go along with those Japanese yam or Japanese sweet potatoes that I am now starting, because I would like to have slips for next year. So I'm going to be saving some of the slips by growing them indoors. Of course, that is going to require me to have a lot more growing space. But as I'm having issues with fungus gnat even when I bottom water, so now I have to make arrangement to ensure that whatever it is that I am growing indoors is protected so that those little flies can't get in order to lay their eggs. So I just removed some plants that I had rooting indoors, and they were being bottom watered. And what I noticed when I took up the pots out of the container that I put the water in is that while I did not see any fungus not directly in the pots, when I lift up the pots, underneath the pots there were fungus gnat larvae. So even bottom watering can breed these fungus gnats. So I ordered some fabric, and since as it's going to be indoors where I don't have a south facing window, so it means that light, my plants are not going to be getting enough light, and I don't intend to use a grow light all year round, only when I'm starting seedlings to plant for the next season. So I bought some white fabric so that it won't block out whatever little sunlight I'm getting, and I'm going to create an enclosed environment so that the plants will be able to grow without the fungus gnat affecting them. Okay, so look at my corns. They were half this size a week ago, but look at them now. They're doing quite well. I'm quite impressed, quite happy. So I imagine if I was giving them as much water as I should, they would be a lot bigger now. But they're doing quite fine. I think maybe because I have the wood chip mulch in here, so it is helping to contain some of the water. It's not yet 9 o'clock in the morning, but yet it is very hot out here because today is supposed to be, I think, 36 degrees Celsius. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm trying to get as much work done out here in the garden for the next hour or so, so that at least I know I get something done before the time gets too hot. Yeah, so my beefsteak tomatoes, look at them. This is the bed where my first set of transplant died. These tomatoes did not die because they didn't get affected by the fungus gnat, but they are doing great. So I'm quite pleased. I wish I had some Roma tomato in here, but if you look closely, you'll see where they're starting to flower. So pretty soon I'm expecting to see fruit starting to grow. Quite excited. I can't wait. I don't usually have plants flowering at this time of year because all the previous years I started my plants from seeds. which I did this year too, but then I would start them later than I did this year. This year I started as early as the 5th of March. Oh, look at that. I got quite a few little worms here. They came out of the castings. Okay, I'm at the bottom of the castings now, that's why. But that's okay, they can go in the garden and nourish it. Yes, so as I was saying, it's the first year I started my seedlings so early. And because I started early, now I have plants that are flowering apart from those that are bolting. So usually this time of year my seeds would be just about germinating. Yeah, because I would plant them the last week in May. That's what I usually do. Plant them the last week in May, and then by the end of June practically everything would have germinated at that point in time. And I think that is why I haven't been able to harvest any peppers the previous years. But this time I am ahead of the game, and I'm quite happy that I started it earlier than I usually. Oh, I don't want any castings in here. Yeah, gotta shake it off. Because yes, this is a part of my, what is it called? Oh, my castings versus compost challenge, and that is the compost container, so I don't want any castings in there. So pretty soon I'll be giving you guys an update on that compost versus castings challenge. Okay, that's it. So if you enjoyed my video and you would like to see more updates on what's going on in my garden, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, it's time to grow.